Hello everyone, Cole here with another episode of Questions for Cole. This is our 51st episode. No new questions over the past couple of weeks, so I thought I would do something a little different today. Since we've had 50 episodes with at least one question every week, and sometimes 3 or 4 questions at a time, I was thinking, first of all, that's a lot of questions, and secondly, maybe it would be a good idea to list all of those questions that people have asked so far. And maybe when you hear all of those questions that we've already received, it might help you to come up with another one. It might spark an idea for a future question. I hope so. So if you're ready for a long list today, let's get started. I actually haven't counted all the questions, but I'll bet we're getting close to 100 or so altogether, maybe even more over the first 50 episodes. That is too much for one day, too many for one day, so I'm going to split it in half or so. So today I'll read out the first 50 or so questions that I've received over the first 20 or so episodes. We'll see when we get to 50. And I'll save the rest for another time. So here are the first 50 or so questions that I've received beginning way back in episode 1, way back in mid-April of 2020, over a year ago. Question number 1. Cole, when did they start the very first church ever? That was from one of our children. Good question. Question number 2 was from Gary. He says, I miss moving the chairs around after church on Sundays. Do you think I could get in there and move some chairs around just for fun and exercise? The third question was from an anonymous person. Cole, I think I sound really good singing the hymns all by myself in my apartment. Do you think I could join the choir when church starts back up again? Fourth question was, is the Easter Bunny the spirit of Jesus leaving gifts, or is he really a rabbit? I think that was another question from one of our children. Fifth question was, do you believe the story of the loaves and fishes was a miracle, or did people just share what they had with each other? 6. At the Garden of Gethsemane, how did the disciples know what Jesus prayed if they all fell asleep? 7. Is there anyone at the church who would eat the freshly baked cinnamon buns I just made? Oh, that was one of my favorite questions. The answer was yes, and they were delicious. 8. Cole, if you had to get a tattoo, what would it be and where? 9. In the Hail Mary prayer, it says Mary is the mother of God, and we're also taught that Jesus is the Son of God, so does that mean that Jesus is God? 10. Cole, do you get nervous thinking about having over 400 households tuning in to some of our YouTube services? 11. Colin asked me why I go by the name of Cole if my real name is spelled C-O-L-I-N, like his. 12. Cole, do you have any pet peeves? 13. Cole, can you tell us a little bit more about your dog? 14. Do you think the historical Jesus thought that he was going to die on the cross so that God would forgive us of our sins? So that was a day where I had a question about dog and I had a question about God. They're all different. 15. Cole, could you share some of the reasons why you chose the United Church and what keeps you affirmed in your faith? 16. Cole, if you could eat just one food for the rest of your life, what food would it be? 17. Cole, all the men in my family love wearing crazy socks. Just wondering if you have any holy themed crazy socks. 18. Cole, are you missing sports these days? 19. Cole, do you think our first service back in the church could be a pajama service? 20. How are you doing, Cole? 21. What is Jesus doing about the COVID virus for us? 22. Cole, is there any way that we could add some vocals to the hymns for our Sunday services? 23. Cole, when someone finds out what you do for a living, how do they usually react? 24. Cole, what is your favorite hymn? 25. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? 26. Cole, do you rely too heavily on your phone? 27. That was a question from me to the rest of you this time, asking what your favorite hymns are. 28. Cole, where did you grow up and what's your favorite thing to do when you're on holidays? 29. What have you had for pets during your lifetime? 30. Is anything happening at the church anytime soon? 31. Cole, what do your Sunday mornings look like now? 32. Cole, why is the writing on your questions for Cole sign backwards? 33. Cole, what do you think about the churches who are signing a petition and trying to get the government to let them open? 34. Cole, do you watch your whole sermon every Sunday? 35. Cole, do you think it's weird that I talk to my dog all the time? 36. How can God let bad things like hurricanes happen? That was another day where I had a question about dog and a question about God. 37. Do pets go to heaven when they die? What about animals in the wild? 38. Can you think of anything to be grateful about right now? 39. Cole, I'm not sure what to tell my kids about this pandemic, missing their sports and activities and friends. What do you think? 40th question was, well, this was a set of 3 or 4 different questions about the changing church. I borrowed these questions from our National Church's Facebook page. They included, should the church as we know it even exist anymore? How should we change? What should we do? And what should our role be in helping to change society? That was all under 40th question. 41st question was, so this was a series again of 3 questions that I asked all of you to answer, and then I also answered them myself. The first one was, what are you missing the most right now? The second was, what do you like best about our current online services and messages? Anything you'd like to see more of? And the third one was, what good ideas have you heard or seen from other churches that we could consider at Selkirk United Church? So that was 41, 42, and 43. Here's 44. Cole, do you wear a mask when you go out? 45. Are there some questions that just don't have any answers? 46. Cole, what are your least favorite foods? 47. Cole, what do you think of the book of Revelation? How should we interpret it? Are we in the last days? 48. Hey Cole, why do you use matches to light the candles every Sunday? Is it symbolic, or are you just too cheap to buy a butane lighter that is made for exactly that purpose and much safer? Someone was worried about my safety. That was nice of them. 49th question was, oh, for this one I again asked a 2-part question of all of you. The first was, would you come back to the church for some sort of small group gathering right now? This was back in September. And secondly, what kind of gathering would you be most interested in? The 50th question and the 51st question, these were 2 questions both about our Knitters Nosh group. The first was from someone who is not part of the group. They asked, Cole, have the girls in the knitting group taught you to knit yet? And related, the second one, the 51st question of all time in this series, was from someone who is part of that Knitters group. And the question was, Cole, we missed you at Knitters Nosh this week. Did you not come because there were no cookies? And that takes us past the first 50 questions that I've received over the last year or so. That was 51 questions actually over the first 21 episodes. As I said, I'll share the rest of them with you in a few weeks' time. Until then, if any of those have sparked a new question from any of you, just send them in. My email is cole@selkirkunitedchurch.ca. I'd love to hear from you. And that's it for this week. And next week, I'm actually off for a couple of days before our online regional meeting happens next weekend. So I won't be back with another episode until June the 2nd. Keep those great questions coming, and even the not so great ones. They're fun too. See you then. Take care, friends.